All right, what's good, fam? This your boy is Either We're here, and welcome to my channel. Right, welcome to the Afterthought, and this is just my thoughts after watching this New Jack interview he did with Vlad TV. Now, I'm gonna say this now. Over the last like 2 years, I found myself defending the McMahon family. I found myself defending Vince McMahon's company a whole lot because you got a lot of people that like to race bait for views, and I've pointed that out. There's people that love to say that the WWE is racist, yet none of the wrestlers that wrestled for WWE over the last like 25, 30 years have ever came out and said that Vince McMahon himself is racist. None of them, right? Now you got this brother New Jack here. Now he's a wrestler himself, right? This guy's basically retired. He's a wrestler from back in the day. This is New Jack used to wrestle in ECW. I think he's from Smoky Valley Wrestling or something like that, right? And I know he wrestled with the Iron Sheik and those guys, but this guy's been on TNA. So he's been on TNA, he's been on ECW. This is a guy who's never ever wrestled in WWE at all. Let's just be honest, he's not been on WCW or WWE. So this guy is not in the know about what's really going on in that business. But I'm going to basically point out some of the ridiculous things he said, and then this is also the one thing I don't like about Vlad TV. I don't like about Vlad, right? And this is what Charlemagne the God pointed out, because don't get me wrong now, there's been some great topics. And I like how Vlad uses his platform to also help people. So he's not a bad person, but sometimes Vlad just asks the most stupidest questions. And some of his questions don't even be like, they don't exactly even be like true. Okay, that's the problem I have with Vlad. And Carcino for Life even pointed this out on his channel. Is that Vlad basically goes overboard just to get his guests on his show. And he asks some questions that's not even relevant. Right? There's even been a question in this one subject that when he's interviewing New Jack, where Vlad actually lied on Vince McMahon. Right? I think Vlad said something, I saw Vince McMahon on Real Sports Talk a long time ago. He slapped a paper out of a reporter's face, which never happened. Because Vince McMahon is a very classic dude, right? He carries himself with a lot of class. This man is a multi-millionaire. He represents the company. He's a chairman. You'll never see Vince McMahon slapping no paper out of nobody's hands, or else the tabloids would be all over it and he'd get fined for it. And even New Jack himself didn't know that it even happened. He said, I didn't see that. But no, man, I don't like this interview. I don't like the fact New Jack has said something very ignorant, right? And again, man, the people that say the WWE is racist don't even have proof of that even happening, right? They love to talk about black wrestlers being did wrong, yet none of the black wrestlers such as Dwayne Johnson, Booker T, Mark Henry, who was on Vlad not too long ago, matter of fact, last month, he did an interview on Vlad. He never said anything negative about Vince McMahon or the McMahon family, right? Ron Simmons, D'Lo Brown, The Godfather, right? None of these black wrestlers, right? Shelton Benjamin, Bobby Lashley, all these guys that have wrestled in WWE have not had nothing negative to say about Vince McMahon. Not even the women, right? Naomi, for example, Jacqueline. All these black female wrestlers that's actually became WWE Women's Champion. None of them have nothing negative to say about the McMahon family, right? Now, I want to clear this up now because New Jack basically said something that was very, very dumb, okay, in his interview, right? Because I guess Vlad asked him about the wrestlers, wrestlers passing on, right? He asked him a question about wrestlers passing on and this and that. And then New Jack had the nerve to bring up Chris Benoit. And he said that people are defending the people he's talking to is defending Chris Benoit, right? Making excuses about him. They trying to say that him killing his wife and his child, his oldest son, was on CTE, right? They making excuses. And this dude says some of the most vulgar language, most nastiest language, right? This dude saying, oh, they can suck my dick, kiss my ass crack. Like, dude, why would you talk like that? Like, I ain't hear Godfrey, Lord Jamar, and Charlemagne the God, and even Daylight. And those are like the four celebrities, entertainers that's been on Vlad TV that made the most appearances. They don't even talk like that. This dude don't talk with no intelligence at all, right? This guy talks like he got a couple of screws loose himself. Now, let me say this about Chris Benoit, okay? Let me just make this very, very clear. For those who watched the interviews that Chavo Guerrero, right, his son, David Benoit, who is the last surviving member of that family, Matter of fact, if you watched all the interviews people have said about that's done on Chris Benoit, including Don Tony and Kevin Castle, who are the biggest wrestling YouTube channel on YouTube today. Don Tony is the biggest, right? He has the most views and the most fan base as far as a wrestling channel area out of Wrestling Soup, right? Out of all these other wrestling channels, right? They even said it. Nobody's making excuses for Chris Benoit. Nobody, right? If you look at all the interviews, if you look at Chavo Guerrero's interview, that was like the main one because Chavo was really close to Chris. Even Dean Malenko and Perry Saturn, right? None of them have made excuses about Chris Benoit killing his wife and killing his son before he killed himself. Benoit pretty much did basically a mass murder. It was murder-suicide. Nobody's made excuses for that. They know that was wrong. Okay? Matter of fact, if you watch his son interview, David, I think it's David Benoit, right? His son did an interview recently. He even said like the law enforcement found a suicide note that Chris Benoit was planning to do that even before. Chris Benoit had a suicide note planning to kill himself and kill whoever else was around him anyway. So I don't know who New Jack was talking to, but nobody is making excuses for Chris Benoit. And you cannot blame that on Vince McMahon. Okay? When a wrestler dies, that's not on Vince because the majority of wrestlers have died over the last like 10, 15 years have not even been employed by the WWE. These have been retired wrestlers. This man don't know what he's talking about. I told y'all, New Jack has never wrestled for WWE at all. He's never run for Vince McMahon. So how would he know what's going on? This man doesn't really talk to too many of these other wrestlers who even wrestle with Vince McMahon like that. Right? Yeah, he might have known Nancy, Chris Benoit's wife. But again, nobody's necessarily blaming that on CTE. Yeah, it's true. Benoit probably had that. Even when he said Benoit covered up his head. No, Benoit wasn't always covering up his hand when he took a chair shot, if y'all notice. I can go on here and show you some pictures. I go on WWE.com, right, and look at some of his Attitude Era footage. Or look at some of his Ruthless Aggression footage where Benoit was getting hit different ways with the chair. And plus, there's other ways that caused Benoit to get head damage. For one, that diving headbutt that Chris Benoit would go into the turnbuckle, right? And jump on somebody with both arms like he flying a plane and land on you, right? And then especially when somebody would get out the way and duck, Benoit would take a hard head on that mat and hit his head. Okay, so Benoit was getting hit more than one way. That caused head damage. It wasn't just chair shots. Okay, New Jack has not been watching all of Chris Benoit's matches. He really hasn't. Again, when Chris Benoit was in the WWF, when he first debuted, New Jack wasn't watching that. Again, man, this dude says some very unintelligent stuff. But again, when a wrestler dies, that's not on Vince McMahon. For example, right, Grandmaster Sexay, right? Grandmaster Sexay, which is Jerry the King Lawler's biological son, right? That's Brian Christopher. That man passed away in prison. He hung himself. He committed suicide. That's not on Vince McMahon at all. Grandmaster Sexay did a lot of terrible things. That man was in and out of jail, right? Even after WWE released him in 2001. Because Grandmaster Sexay was gone right around the time ECW and WCW was being brought in by Stephanie and Shane. He was already gone. His contract was over, right? He's the only other Too Cool member besides Rikishi and Scotty 2 Hotty that hasn't even made another return. That dude has passed away, right? That's not on Vince McMahon. Since New Jack has the nerve to say that all these wrestlers dying is on Vince McMahon, he got blood on his hands. No. Okay? Shad Gaspard, who was the very last wrestler that passed away, right, during this COVID-19. He passed away 2 months ago, right? Shad Gaspard never once had nothing negative to say about WWE or Vince McMahon at all, right? Shad Gaspard from Crime Time with his partner JTG, right? That man died on his boat. Got hit by Riptide, right? Him and his son. The man passed away saving his son and was drowned. I remember I did a video on that, right? That had nothing to do with Vince McMahon. Shad Gaspard ain't wrestled in the WWE ring in 10 years. And then you talk about Owen Hart, right? Now, when Owen Hart died, I'm going to be very honest. Owen Hart was pretty much, Vince McMahon honored Owen Hart's family very, greatly, right? That man was very merciful, right? Not only did he give Owen Hart a memorial, right? That Monday Night Raw, after Over the Edge, when they found out the man passed away, he gave him a proper memorial like he did any other wrestler, right? Not only did he give Owen Hart a memorial, he also paid Owen Hart's family royalties. Owen Hart's wife got the rest of the money he was owed to him in that contract plus the insurance, because again, WWE does cover their wrestlers. They take care of them, right? And on top of that, you got endorsements. For those who played the PS1, who was around for the first PlayStation, right? And you played the wrestling games. Back when Acclaim was doing the wrestling games, there's a game called WWF Attitude. Get it, right? And that game was basically known for wrestlers talking trash. Because they trash talk on there, right? They have dialogue on there. And that was the second game, because that was the prequel, that was the sequel to Warzone. You had Warzone then with also on the front cover. Attitude was the next game made by Acclaim before THQ took over and made the SmackDown series, right? Now, in that video game, after the intro is over, they actually do, there's a scene on there before the game starts saying, in loving memory of Owen James Hart. So that game was dedicated to Owen Hart. So Owen Hart's family got paid royalties off that video game. And then that was the only video game, The Legends of Wrestling, which is another wrestling game, right? With all the Hall of Famers, the historic wrestlers on there, right? They also been getting that money. Okay? And then Bret Hart later on, this is around, I think it was 2011, 2012, he came back to WWE and buried the hatchet with Vince. Him and Vince are cool now. Right? Bret Hart finally forgave Vince for what happened. Right? And Vince McMahon said his apologies. He said his sorries. They're cool now. Bret Hart has moved on from that. Right? So to sit there and say that they go like Vince McMahon don't care about these wrestlers, he actually does. Right? Why would this man not care about wrestlers who's made him a lot of money in his company? You act like Vince McMahon don't give a damn about these people, man. He do. Vince McMahon knows these wrestlers are human beings behind the camera. Behind the mask, behind that ring attire, they're normal human beings. And Vince McMahon, his family, Linda, Shane, and Stephanie, including Triple H, who is his son-in-law, has done a very good job in taking care of these wrestlers and made sure their contracts are taken care of and they're given the best care possible. So no, you cannot blame Vince McMahon for these deaths. When most of these deaths ain't had nothing to do with him. Right? Joni Lawler, China, rest in peace. Right? D-Generation X member. Okay? Joni Lawler got released from WWE years ago, right? And if y'all wonder why you ain't seen Joni Lawler, because she did porn. And one of her pornos she did included actor and actresses playing WWE wrestlers, right? Like the Iron Sheik, Triple H. There was even a porno scene with her and with a character playing Vince McMahon and his daughter Stephanie, which was really nasty, right? Even though it's China and people still watched it because they fantasized over China's body and they dreamt about like smashing her. You still have Vince McMahon and Stephanie, the people playing those characters interacting with each other in that porno. It was nasty, but again, that's what pissed WWE off. Not to forget to mention that China had beef with Triple H, and this was over Stephanie. She accused Stephanie of stealing her man, right? She even said that her and Triple H was engaged. So China aired out a lot of dirty laundry over her and Triple H over the years, right? And plus she had a relationship with X-Pac. She did all this stuff, right? And yet Triple H still forgave her. Stephanie still forgave her, right? Vince McMahon didn't hold nothing against her. Triple H still allowed her to be inducted into the Hall of Fame, right? Vince McMahon allowed her to be inducted to the Hall of Fame with the rest of her DX members, along with Shawn Michaels, the Road Dogg, right? X-Pac, Billy Gunn, a.k.a. Mr. Ass, and Triple H. Again, New Jack is not going to tell you that. He doesn't know that because he don't watch it. Right? China still is technically a Hall of Famer now, even though she's passed away. And when China passed away, she passed away over overdose. Right? She went out the same way Eddie Guerrero did. And Guerrero died at his hotel. This was years ago, man. This was around 2005. 05, 06. He died in his hotel. Yeah, he died like 2 years before Benoit did in his hotel. That man was doing drug and doing prescription drugs and doing pills. That's what took him out. Okay? Had nothing to do with Vince McMahon. Yeah, he was employed by WWE, but Vince McMahon didn't tell him to do none of that. So no, so New Jack is crazy. Same thing, look, Macho Man Randy Savage, the Ultimate Warrior, those guys passed on. Roddy Piper, those guys passed on in their houses. They weren't employed by WWE anymore. Those were retired wrestlers. Again, that had nothing to do with Vince McMahon at all. That's crazy. And this is another thing, and I pointed this out in my videos, right? This dude had the nerve to say that WWE is racist, and he always got the black people in doing some stupid gimmicks, right? Now, shouts out to the social justice and warrior V Infuso. Okay? I've subscribed to him since this quarantine. He's kept my time very, very, very good, right? He's made the time go by fast in his videos. because they're very interesting. But if you go to VM Fuso's channel, that man has videos showing wrestlers in the most stupidest gimmicks, right? VM Fuso is basically showing you that black wrestlers who have not had the worst gimmicks at all. There are people who are non-black, right? Who are other ethnicities who've had some of the most terrible gimmicks, right? For example, Chavo Guerrero, who I mentioned earlier. Right? This is one of Chris Benoit's personal friends. They gave Chavo Guerrero a gimmick where this man played a Caucasian man. Chavo Guerrero was a straight white man, right? This dude had the Carlton Banks outfit, right? With the sweater tied around his shoulders, right? Wearing a color button-up polo, right? With some khakis and some dress shoes. Calling himself current white. Now, if that's not offensive and racist, right? If that's not really, like, going overboard, and VM Fuso covered it, right? Then you had another man playing a mime, playing some type of phantom. And one of this game was him reaching in somebody's crouch, right? Reaching in a neither region, trying to pull out something, right? Very, very, very stereotypical, right? Then you have Super Crazy from ECW, right? Him and his group, then when he came in, right, he debuted with, right? Called himself the Mexicoons. We're not Mexicans, we're Mexicoons. Which would be offensive to both blacks and Mexicans, right? But these are Hispanics calling themselves Mexicoons. Alright? Like, come on now, man. You even had a woman with a grotesque thing on her face. Right? Trying to be a wrestler, right? You had that going on. Like, you had some terrible gimmicks where black folks wasn't even getting that embarrassed. Right? You had a dude playing a plumber. You had Doink the Clown. Like, come on now, man. You even had Hector Guerrero, right? Chavo and Eddie Guerrero's uncle. Or their cousin, right? He's from the Guerrero family. He's from that wrestling family, right? This dude was in a freaking chicken costume or a rooster costume, right? For those who watched this year's WrestleMania, you saw the Gimmicky Battle Royal, which featured all the Hall of Fame historic wrestlers. You seen him come out here in a chicken costume, right? You know how embarrassed that is for Mexicans, right? But yet you want to talk about black folks having the worst gimmicks? Come on now, man. But again, this is somebody who has not wrestled in WWE at all, ain't been involved with it like that. Yeah, he may know a couple of wrestlers backstage on a personal level, but this man ain't in the company like that. This is stupid, dude. This dude has no sense at all. None. This is a man that's like 57 years old, man. You too old. Again, that's for him to be acting like that and talking like that, that's ridiculous. That's crazy talk, man. You can't be on all. No wonder nobody signed you, man. I remember Vlad even asked him, oh, how come this man didn't sign him, right? Oh, because I can't be controlled. Like, no, you not signed by WWE because your attitude. You not signed by WWE because you got your mindset is bad. This man thinks that every white person's out to get black people, right, and extort them. That's not the case. And this is a man who sued his other wrestling company. No, this man would never treat you like that smoking mountain wrestling company, right? No, man. If you talk to any black wrestler, they'll tell you that Vince McMahon treated him with respect. Ron Simmons said in an interview, and I showed y'all that. He said it was all business. Ron Simmons said that Vince McMahon treated him way better than they did in WCW. And y'all all see why WCW failed and folded. Yeah, y'all want to call the W racist, right? When Hulk Hogan, when it was a video surfaced about Hulk Hogan calling Dwayne Johnson the nigger word, when he said the N word, Hulk Hogan has been basically banished. He's been blackballed out of WWE. They don't mention Hulk Hogan at all. Just like Chris Benoit, right? And again, I'm going to tell you right now, Chris Benoit's never going into the Hall of Fame. At all. Because again, why would Vince McMahon want to honor somebody that basically murdered his wife and his child? So his daughter Morgan and his youngest son David Benoit got to grow up without their parents. Right? No kid wants to grow up with that, right? Why would Vince McMahon honor that? And y'all got the nerve to even put that in the description. No, I'm not feeling that. I don't know why Vlad would even put that on there. That's terrible. See, this is the problem I hate, man. Vlad is basically adding fuel to the fire with this idiot. This is why you got Kofi Kingston being the first black WWE wrestler, despite Dwayne Johnson did it first, right? You got that stupid nonsense. I can't stand it. You got people complaining that there's not enough black WWE champions or World Heavyweight champions, which is false. Y'all keep saying the WWE is racist, right? But none of the wrestlers themselves that signed that contract is even complaining. And they had worse gimmicks. Like, come on, man. This is stupid. For real. But have this man to come on here and talking like he talking, man, this is why people don't respect black folks. This is why my black people got problems in this country. Because people with all this money, right, who have all this fame will come on here on camera saying some unintelligent stuff. It's ignorant. This is the only thing I don't like about Vlad, because Vlad got people come on here doing some dumb stuff for attention and views. Like that dude Kid Boo, right? Gonna call himself a clone of Tentacion. High as hell, why would you have that on and entertain that crap? Tentacion was passed on and dead. You gonna say some stuff like that? It's ridiculous. And it's disrespectful. Like, this dude is disrespecting Vince McMahon. That this dude wondering why he'll never be on nobody's Hall of Fame. Ain't nobody gonna honor this dude because he's talk crazy. No, man, I can't get down with that. That's offensive. But imagine putting yourself in Vince McMahon's shoes. You own a wrestling company that big, and you're gonna have people calling you racist, even though you know for a fact you're not, and you trying your best not to be, and you do what you can to make sure these wrestlers get what they want, and yet they still insult you. It's like, for example, Chris Jericho. As much as Chris Jericho has had beef with what's been going on behind the scenes, you'll never hear Chris Jericho calling Vince McMahon a piece of shit. Excuse my language. I'm just quoting what he said on the video, because that's what New Jack just said. He called Vince McMahon a POS. No, Jericho would never call Vince McMahon a POS, because it's because of Vince McMahon that Jericho was able to get out of WCW and go to a better wrestling company. It's because of Vince McMahon that Chris Jericho was able to be the first ever undisputed WWE World Heavyweight Champion. Not to forget to mention, Jericho was able to win pretty much every belt title he could win in his division. That man won the IC belt. He had both the WWE title and the World Heavyweight title. Multiple tag team champion, right? He was World Tag Team Champion and WWE Tag Team Champion. Okay? Like, everything Chris Jericho done, everything you name it, Chris Jericho did. Chris Jericho did everything he wanted to do in his career with the WWE. Now he's in AEW, building more of his legacy. Okay? Same thing with Kurt Angle. None of these guys had nothing negative. Again, it's despite what they had about Vince McMahon, how they felt about Vince, they never called him a POS. That's never happened. I told y'all, man, Owen Hart's big brother Brett came back and forgave Vince. Okay? Again, man, this is the problem with older folks like this man here. You can't let stuff go, man. No. A wrestler dying, that's not on Vince. Vince McMahon ain't responsible for these wrestlers dying. I'm sorry, man. Wrestlers got other problems. They be having other issues off camera that leads to their death. Some of these wrestlers are drug addicts, like Jake the Snake Roberts. That man was a cocaine addict. Okay? Same thing with Mr. Trailer, right? The big boss man. That man passed away. Vince McMahon had nothing to do with that man's death. This man gonna sit here and lie on camera. It's terrible, man. It's really ridiculous. Now, see, if Vlad wind up getting a lawsuit by WWE, and one of the McMahons or Triple H or Shane confront, or somebody from WWE tries to confront Vlad about that, or confront New Jack on that, that's on them. If New Jack gets in trouble with that, that's strictly on Vlad, because Vlad allowed that to happen. Vlad don't know, but see, WWE don't play around. Vlad can get in trouble by that. Because it's because of Vlad having this dude on here that WWE is not respected. That it's the bigger wrestling company. No, Chris Benoit will never, ever go into the WWE Hall of Fame. They don't mention Chris Benoit at all. Nobody. No, nobody's ever made excuses about what Chris Benoit did. Never. Don Tony even said, I can't honor a mass murderer. Yeah, him and Kevin Castle mentioned the good things Chris Benoit did in his wrestling career, including Vin Fuso, but none of them are making excuses about what Chris Benoit did. Because me personally, if you kill yourself, I consider you a coward. A straight coward. I don't respect nobody that killed himself. Right? This is why I can't respect Aaron Hernandez, even though people still try to praise that dude. Aaron Hernandez had a black man killed. Another football player that was playing in semi-pro leagues. Killed. Right? He killed the boyfriend of his wife's or his fiance's sister. Right? That's why Aaron Hernandez hung himself, because he was guilty. He knew he was going to get out regardless and people was going to kill him, so he didn't want to face what he had coming to him. No, man. That's not on Vince McMahon either. Chris Benoit was planning to do that by himself. Again, the interviews are out there. Chris Benoit's son, right, youngest son, came out there and even said it. There was the police found a suicide note, right, when Chris Benoit hung himself. This is why Vince McMahon don't talk about that at all. because he's not responsible for that. And why should he? Again, this man New Jack don't know what the hell he talking about. So I'm just clearing it up for right now for those who watch this video. Right, this is my response to New Jack. Right, and Vlad, you need to be ashamed of yourself for even having this dude say some stuff like that. Again, for y'all to be talking about Vince McMahon like that is clearly screwed up. That's effed up, man. That's going low. Vlad, you lowballing Vince McMahon. You don't even know this man at all. Right? Y'all need to leave Vince McMahon alone. So Vlad, what New Jack is saying on here is clearly completely false. Right? Yeah, the people he talking to might have not been working for WWE anyway. Because nobody's making excuses for Chris Benoit at all. Nobody's saying how good this man is off camera. Nobody. Because what Chris Benoit did, he shamed not only Canada, but he shamed his entire family, including the Hart Foundation who trained him. Stu Hart, rest in peace. The late great Stu Hart trained that man in the dungeon. And what Chris Benoit did, he shamed all of them because all Canadians don't act like that. You don't see Edge and Christian acting like that. Lance Storm, none of these Canadian wrestlers did what he did. None of them. Okay? So let's just put that out the way now. This is the only thing I don't like about Vlad. Right? This is why people don't like Vlad. Because they feel Vlad asks questions, man, asks certain things that are offensive to other people. And Vlad asks questions who get people on here and embarrass themselves on camera. They be saying some stupid things. It's just like that. This is like when I had to respond to Godfrey saying there's no masculine black superheroes. And then that whole time, never once did he mention Chadwick Boseman or the Black Panther, right? He didn't mention that name at all. And yet, Chadwick Boseman played Prince T'Challa, who was a masculine king, who became king of Wakanda. He was masculine, right? He fell in love with a woman named, he fell in love with Lupita Nyong'o's character, right? He was a straight man on there who was masculine, right? That's the problem. That's the only problem I don't like about Vlad is these questions. He has these people going on there. He asking them, and they be saying stupid questions. That's downright embarrassing, and it don't make an ounce of sense, right? And it makes your show look bad. So, no, for that reason, no, I can't respect that at all. That's why I'm doing this response with it, because I got to check New Jack. And I hope he sees this, because he needs to see how stupid he looks on this camera. Because the things you saying about Vince McMahon, you would not say none of this to his son, his daughter, Stephanie. You wouldn't even say that to Triple H if they was right in front of you. If Vince McMahon was right in front of New Jack, he wouldn't be calling him a POS. Because Vince going to check him and explain why he's not. And all Vince McMahon going to do is make this dude look stupid. This dude looks dumb saying that crap. I mean, all the black wrestlers who I mentioned before have never had nothing negative to say about Vince McMahon at all. Again, nobody's ever came out and said that Vince McMahon is racist. Now, sure, you have wrestlers might have said that other writers in the back, right? Other people who work for WWE was racist, but not the McMahon family. Definitely not Shane. Okay? And this is Shane and Stephanie, whose theme songs include black people rapping on them. Stephanie's theme song has Lil' Kim rapping on it. I think Shane got another dude, right? Even Triple H had Run DMC do his DJX theme song back in 2000. No, these people aren't racist at all, man. It's just the people like New Jack with their bad opinions. Again, you can have an opinion on something, but you can't use your opinion to be offense to other people. Because no, man, and again, dude, Chris Benoit got hit multiple ways ahead. Chris Benoit wasn't always covering his head when he got hit with a chair shot, and I can show you proof if you want to refute that statement. But anyways, folks, that's the video, man. I just want to say that that's terrible, that's ridiculous, and people need to stop saying WWE is racist when the rest of themselves are not even calling them racist, right? Y'all on the outside looking in. If you was to get signed by WWE, and Vince or Triple H was to offer you a $25-30 million contract or $115 million, none of you would be saying these people are racist. None for that bag. Okay? This is New Jack, whose life is miserable, right? He got regrets. He regrets his career didn't pan out the way it should be, and he's taking his anger out on Vince McMahon. That's just all it is. Right? This man is mad he couldn't get that WWE money. But that's on him. Right? This interview just shows you why his career didn't get no bigger. Right? I don't hear about that. I don't hear about this dude ever winning a championship belt like that neither. Not no big title. This is somebody who got anger in his heart, right? He's a bitter black man. That's all it is. But he trying to take this opportunity to try to downplay somebody else. Like, no. This is like the same way I tell y'all, man. How can y'all call the NFL NBA, right? And the MLB racist when the athletes themselves are signing a contract and neither one of them are even going on strike, accusing their own owners of being racist like that. Everybody ain't Eric Reed and Kaepernick neither. Okay? But anyways, folks, that's the video, man. Y'all like, subscribe, comment. Tell me what you think, man. Y'all stay blessed. Stay tuned. I'll see you soon.